Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 30 of Be With Me in the book of 2 Corinthians. We're in chapter 9 today, and we find the Corinthian people theoretically ready and theoretically willing and with zeal and with confidence of a high boastability factor from Paul about the topic of giving. And it's all theoretical. And what we're going to ask today is your faith big enough and is it real enough to include giving? That is, can we test and prove your faith? We can test and prove your relationship with Christ by looking at your checkbook, or as it is nowadays, by your Venmo account. And I think of the story of the Grinch that stole Christmas. And you remember the part of the story where the Grinch is standing there and say, how could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bag. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe perhaps it means a little bit more. And then what happened? Well, in Whoville, they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And so what Paul is asking is that let's look at the size of the Corinthians' heart and see if it's grown enough, see if it's expanded enough to envelop God's people, and specifically God's people in Jerusalem, far away, and specifically with regards to money. We've already talked quite a bit about money in chapter 8, and we found that it's practical, and it's real, and it's proportional, and it's inconvenient, and is a difficult work. It's described as a work, and it's a matter of heart, and it's also a matter of the hands. And that's what we're kind of talking about today, is saying, is it just your heart we're talking about here, or is your faith with regards to giving and the Lord, is it real? So here it is. This is from 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 1. Now it is superfluous to me to write about you about the ministry for the saints, for I know your readiness, of which I boast about you to the people of Macedonia, saying that Achaia, Corinth, has been ready since last year, and your zeal has stirred up most of them. But I'm sending the brothers, so that our boasting about you may not prove empty in this matter, so that you may be ready. In other words, prove ready, as I said you would be. Otherwise, if some Macedonians come with me and find that you are not ready, we would be humiliated, to say nothing of you for being so confident. So I thought it necessary to urge the brothers to go on ahead to you and arrange in advance for the gift you have promised, so that it may be ready as a willing gift, not as an exaction. So this is a gift to the saints. Who are the saints? Well, they're living Christians. Saints are never dead. They're the ones that are in need of help. They're in Jerusalem, far hundreds of miles away. And this is a representative of giving of one person to another person, one group of people to another group of people. Remember, the government didn't do this at this period of time. So when the Jerusalem church was particularly financially strapping, who's going to help them? Nobody but other churches. So what Paul is saying is, you guys have already pledged yourself. You have an intent. You prepared for this. You're ready. In fact, I boasted about your readiness. And what Paul is saying, I see this good thing in you. You have a heart for giving. You have a zeal for this. It's spilled over to me. In other words, I've seen it, and I've verbalized it. I've boasted about it. And it's spilled over to other Macedonian churches as I've talked about it. And it's stirred them to do stuff. So also it says it stirred up most of them, not all of them, which just tells you the reality of Scripture. I love that. So the risk is that you wouldn't come through. The risk is that you won't complete the task. And the point here is that these brothers are actual people, and they're actually coming to your neighborhood. And I don't want you to prove empty. I want you to prove ready. And this has applications that are not just in money. It could also be other things that we give, time and sacrifice and our attitudes. So he says to him, I want you to prove it before me so that our boasting's not in vain. I want you to prove it in front of other churches because they've been stirred and influenced. I want you to prove it before the Lord. And then really, I want you to prove it before yourself. This is where the rubber meets the road. So far you've been ready, willing, able, and confident. But the question today is your giving real? Is it actual? Or is it just theoretical? And this is not virtual compassion. This is not, I'm going to send you my thoughts and prayers. No, this is about something tangible, real, and proven. So the markers of the Christian walk, there are a lot of them. We're just talking about one of them today, which is money. There's, for example, is your tongue tamed? Well, it's something that only God can do. And are there fruits of the Spirit that are mentioned in Galatians 5, love, joy, peace, patience? Has something changed? And so Paul is focusing the lasering today and saying, let's look at your checkbook and your Venmo account, and let's see if your heart has changed. So let's look at your Grinch size 1 heart and see if it's gone to a size 3 heart. Has it grown 3 times, big enough that it's going to cover this group of people, of the people of God? So it's kind of giving to God in a practical way. Is your heart big enough to envelop these people who are in need in Jerusalem? And that is that your faith is provable. It's not found void. So my prayer today for me and for all of us is that this namby-pamby warm feeling in our guts can be tested in practical ways, that this readiness and willingness and warm feeling, that it can be proven in the topic, in today's topic at least, of giving and generosity. And we're going to find out tomorrow. Please come back tomorrow. We're going to find about what kind of a giver God likes. It's going to be a cheerful giver. Very famous passage. Come back tomorrow. Thanks for listening. In the meantime, let's be ready, willing, and provable givers. Thanks for listening.